Sergeant Sean, the first Fort Hood shooting after being shot half a dozen times. Sergeant, thank you so much for being here. All the best to you. We've been following your story since 2009. Your reaction to what we've seen today?
At first I was in shock. I mean, it was obviously a blast from what happened 5 years ago. I think all of us that were wounded that day, I mean, it was, brings back images of, the shooting back in 2009. My heart goes out to those soldiers and their families that were shot today. I mean, it's a sad thing, and I know what kind of a struggle they're going to have ahead, both them and their families. So.
Can you give us a feel for, the situation on Fort Hood? It's huge. It's like a small city. And so, same as a small city, there are going to be some incidents of violence. Now, this is much more than an incident of violence, and we all know what happened on November 5th in '09, in your case. But give us a feel for how this would have unfolded. We're told it happened at the 1st Medical Brigade, a medical unit. Are you familiar with that?
I'm not, and I was actually only at Fort Hood for a day and a half before I got shot back in 2009.
Wow.
So I didn't spend a lot of time on post. I've been back to post to testify in the trial, but I'm not that familiar with it. So.
Do you have any recollection of, the moments that the shooter began firing in your case?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost surreal. I mean, initially when we got shot, we thought that it was a drill, or that, this was, some sort of exercise. I mean, you don't think that somebody wearing a uniform is going to open fire and try to kill you. You trust that other soldier, you trust those people around you, and it's something you would never expect to happen.
So there's a moment of disbelief, and then there has to be obviously a moment of panic, especially given that, as we discussed in our earlier segment, you are not allowed to carry firearms. Most are not allowed to carry firearms on these bases, and so there you are, unarmed, unable to defend yourself.
Yeah, unarmed, you don't have a lot of options. You're in a building, you're confined. There's only certain exits and entryways, so I mean, it's a feeling of helplessness, I guess, at least in my case, when that happened. After I'd gotten shot, I actually had to play dead for a while to prevent Hassan from essentially, coming up and finishing me off. So.